In this video, I'll walk you through how to recalibrate the ATC tool height on the SC512L. ATC tool heights are set at the factory, but a crash or hard contact can shift the position of the ATC head and move the tool center height out of alignment. In this example, we have just recovered from crashing a tool into the chuck. The first thing we want to do is make a quick visual check to see whether the tool height has moved. To do that, move the tool up toward the center of the spindle and compare the tip of the tool to the spindle center line. In our case, the tool has moved below center, so the ATC tool height needs to be adjusted. Before making any mechanical changes, press the E-stop to remove power from the motors. The first step is to remove the tools from the ATC so you can work on it safely. Once the tools are removed, reinstall tool 1, but make sure it does not cover the screws on the front face of the ATC. Now loosen the 8 screws on the front face of the ATC as shown on screen. With those screws loosened but snug, the ATC head can now rotate so the tool height can be adjusted. There are 2 ways to set the tool height. The first is by eye. That method can work for a rough adjustment, but it is not very precise. The second method is by using measuring tools like the setup shown here. For better results, we recommend using measuring tools whenever possible. For this example, we are going to use the height tool. Since this setup uses a bubble level, the first thing we need to do is calibrate it to the machine. To do that, loosen the screw on the level, place it against the top of the ATC, then adjust it until the bubble is centered. Once the bubble is centered, carefully tighten the screw while making sure the bubble stays level. Place the edge of the leveling tool on the tip of the tool, then rotate the ATC head until the level reads centered or just slightly below center. If you cannot get it perfectly centered, it is safer to be just barely below center than above center. Once the level is where you want it, tighten the 8 screws you loosened earlier, starting with the outer screws first. At that point, the mechanical height adjustment is complete. Now we can move back to the control software. Enable the machine, then press Home All. This lets the machine go through its normal homing sequence so we can see whether the ATC still locks correctly after the height adjustment. In our case, after homing, we can see that the ATC does not fully lock into place. That means the ATC home position now needs to be adjusted. If the ATC homing message is still showing, click Cancel. Then wait for the rest of the axes to home. Now go to the Tools tab. From there, use the ATC Home Adjustment section to correct the ATC position. This allows you to fine-tune the home location so the ATC can lock fully into place again. Pressing either of the Jog ATC buttons will show a dialog box letting you know that the ATC will be unlocked, then moved. If the ATC is already unlocked, it will move without showing that prompt. Looking at the front face of the chuck, pressing Jog ATC Plus moves the ATC counterclockwise. Pressing Jog ATC minus moves the ATC clockwise. In this example, we will jog the ATC in the positive direction, then press ATC lock after 1 or 2 nudges. The goal is to move the ATC head just enough for the lock to fully engage. If the lock does not fully engage, the ATC can stay out of position, which can lead to tool crashes. In most cases, you should not need to press the jog buttons more than 10 times to reach a lockable position. Once the ATC is fully locked, we are ready to record that position. Now click the Set ATC Home Adjustment button. A prompt will appear telling you to select Tool 1. Press OK, then click Tool 1. After that, go back and click Set ATC Home Adjustment again. This time, the home position will be recorded. You can confirm that it worked by checking the status bar at the top, where you should see a message showing that ATC A0 was set. At this point, the ATC home adjustment is complete. Before returning to machining, the last step is to test the tool pockets. Randomly select different tool numbers and command tool changes in both directions so the ATC rotates clockwise and counterclockwise. As you do this, make sure each tool pocket locks fully into place. If all pockets lock correctly, you are ready to get back to machining. If you notice that some tools do not fully lock, contact us at support@signcorecnc.com before running a program. Once the tool height is corrected, the ATC home position is reset, and all tool pockets have been tested, the machine is ready to go back into service. Taking the time to verify both the tool height and the lock position after a crash helps prevent bigger problems later and make sure the ATC is safe to run again.
If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing for more setup guides, machining tips, and tutorials. If you have any questions or run into anything unexpected, send us an email at support@signcorecnc.com and we'll be happy to help. You can also check the description for helpful links, related videos, and additional setup resources. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.